editor Kelvin Mackenzie saw the hand of revolutionaries at work. He decided to send in his own agent to unmask them.
So if we put somebody in as a miner, into the miner's side anyway, you can actually get the real sense of what's happening in a dispute.
Kelvin ordered Sun reporter Richard Ellis to go undercover amongst the strikers.
I remember distinctly marching up and down his office. He couldn't keep still, could never keep still, particularly when he was doing something like this. He'd be marching back and forth, saying, got to do this, got to get into them, got to infiltrate these, we've got to show them.
2 previous attempts by the Sun to infiltrate the miners had failed. So Richard changed his identity, grew a beard, became an unemployed labourer, and joined the Socialist Workers' Party. After a few weeks, he was sent to a picket line in Lancashire. What he found showed that the miners didn't need any incitement from the far left.
It was eye-opening, absolutely eye-opening and quite frightening.
Here the strikers have devised new tactics, Operation Surveillance. A posse of cars is waiting to tail and spot the working miners.
What became obvious after a few days there, that they had organised themselves into small kind of hit squads, not flying pickets, but more flying attackers.
It's imperative that we don't blow our cover on this first leg, because up to now we've spotted 4 scabs and 4 scabs who we can name.
They would target those people who had either gone back to work or were shaky, preparing to go back to work. And they would literally go and intimidate or beat up that person to stop that. They didn't need left-wingers from London to do that. They were perfectly capable of doing it themselves.
This is a coward's way, innit? This is a coward's way. Why don't you come and beat fellas up in daylight?
Not
one at a time, one man to one man.
How many?
Not like it's been on bloody telly this morning where 6 men broke into a blockhouse and braiding with bleeding sticks.
The miners' leader launched his own vicious The Greatrex's experience was familiar to Richard Ellis, the Sun's undercover reporter. He'd been on picket lines in Lancashire for 5 weeks and kept his real identity a secret. Then one evening, he was told to get into a minibus with other pickets.
I was ushered towards the back of the minibus. Instead of starting the engine, the leader of our group sat behind the wheel and motioned to the others to lock the doors, which they did. And it was at that point I started thinking this was slightly strange. And I remember he just turned his head round and stared at me, and everyone was looking at me suddenly. And he asked a question. We have information that you are not who you say you are, that you are a reporter from the Sun newspaper. And it was the moment, obviously, I had always dreaded. And it was pretty uncomfortable. The next 20 minutes was full-on, non-stop questioning and re-questioning of my story. They decided they would have a vote as to whether to let me go or whether to take me to this regional NUM HQ where they said people were waiting for me. And they made it clear that what would happen to me was that I would be taken around the back and beaten up badly, if not killed, frankly. There were 9 of them. I won it 5-4 to let me go.
Richard Ellis fled back to the Sun's London offices and his editor, Kelvin Mackenzie.
Kelvin was bouncing up and down and loved it. He wanted it there, then, right, start writing. He virtually dictated the intro to me, which was something, you know, I've just spent the most terrifying 5 weeks of my life, and just carry on from there, he said. And so I did.
Richard Ellis revealed the violence of the hit squads, but it didn't deter men from returning to work.